track, baby, track another one.
Duse M,
Jump on it, jump on it, jump on it. Jump on it, jump on it.
Jump on it, jump on it. Ride it like Jockey, the hell smoking that loud, lacy yak with mouth. Make your mama proud, popping it like shotty. Turn up, it's a gangster party.
GT, ain't never popped a Mari, but if I ever catch Mac, I'ma pop a Holly. I don't even rob a cop the Harley. Blowing so much green, I shame Marley. Yeah, I push the line to its full limit. Hit the hole like 22, boy, I'm a young Emmett. Nothing go like snow, now that's a cold image. Still whistling, sending, knocking them white women. Only reason I do it to avenge image. To the day they go before and they box me out. No, I mean, it don't matter, I simply change my route. On my hobby.
Wes. Welcome to the Damu Kiwe Conversations, home of the West Coast, voice of the culture. It's Duse M's done, and I'm right back at it, just like a crack addict. So today we're gonna talk about Big U, CS2 back. He's now in the OVERT acts. We're going to break down what that means, you know what I'm saying? And as it relates to the case, as it relates to Wack100 status as a Pyru blood. And also, we're going to get into Crackhead Eddie. I see Crackhead Eddie had a reply. You know what I'm saying? He's very upset. He's visibly disturbed. You know what I'm saying? He's visibly disturbed. You dig? So we definitely gotta look into. So y'all seen that I exposed those paperwork. Let's go to this first, right? Let's get right into this. Okay, that's a meeting for the thing. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, that's for the Hip Hop Planet virtual app, a possible investing meeting. This is what we do. So if y'all see inconsistencies with my time and or content, beg pardon, man. I know y'all used to my work ethic that's out of this world. But hardest working brother on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, please excuse that. I'm trying to level up and boss up. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of working for the man. I'm tired of making the man the billions. And they treat us like do-boy workers. Pay us just like that. So the source clarifies the fact. Well, we'll get to that. I'll show you some of the cloud chasing people trying to hype up titles on the internet for clickbait titles, right? So new federal indictment, which they spelled indictment wrong, it's supposed to be a C there, accuses Big U of threats and intimidation, right? So federal prosecutors have widened the scope of their case against Eugene Big U Henley, Eugene Henley Jr., to be exact, but they missed that also, filing a superseding indictment that adds a series of new overt acts, including allegations that he threatened to unalive the late Nipsey Hussle in an intercepted phone calls years after the rapper's 2019 death. So when Big U made this statement on the wiretap, Nipsey was already dead. So wait till we get to the clickbait titles and how they misrepresent the facts, which I argue contaminate the potential jury pool and prevents Big U from having a fair trial. And I'm quite sure the AUSA understood that also. But hey, they plan to win, right? By any means, it's a dirty game. To be clear, the federal government is not accusing Big U of involvement in the Nipsey Hussle murder outside Marathon Clothing in South Los Angeles. That case was prosecuted in state court where Eric Ronald Holder Jr. was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 60 years to life. The new federal felon instead focuses on what prosecutors describe as a broader racketeering pattern built on intimidation, violence, and control. So they say y'all need to spell check before y'all post. Yeah, they definitely do. But shout out to them for clarifying it. I give them more credit than these other blogs. Let's stop sharing that. So he is not being charged for Nipsey's. How when you think if he had anything to do with this, that they wouldn't have loved to you think that they wouldn't have loved to charge this brother and make sure he never seen the streets again? So let's go to another article, right? I think this was the one quoted by allhiphop.com that was cited by CS2 Back, the federal confidential source, you know what I'm saying, himself. You know what I'm saying? I think this was it. Hold on, let me get to it. Let me get to it. Let me get to it. Boom, here we go. So, exclusive, Big U indicted, overt threats to kill Nipsey Hussle and others. Overt threats to kill Nipsey Hussle and others. Is that right? How you gonna kill Nipsey Hussle if Nipsey Hussle was already unalive? See, these is the clickbait titles that they do for clicks. No integrity. Allhiphop.com, you guys should be ashamed of yourself. Your prejudice in the jury pool and Big U from even your prejudice in Big U before a jury pool is even selected. He got an upcoming trial. Where's the journalistic integrity? You guys have none. So this is so nasty. I'm gonna get this up off of my thing, right? I don't really appreciate clickbait titles. You know what I'm saying? I get your money how you get your money, but not at the expense of someone else not getting a fair trial. You know what I'm saying? So let me stop there. So what we gonna do is let me show y'all some more hashtag fake news. I can't believe my boy did it like this because I usually mess with him, you know what I'm saying? And let me see. Big U exposed for trying to unalive Nip. So now Big U was trying to unalive Nip, but Nip is already dead. This is too gangster for YouTube. You went out bad with this with too gangster for YouTube. Don't start that.
What it do, YouTube? What it do? The feds exposed Big U's phone taps. Now, I'm not gonna lie. Big U had to feel like he was unstoppable because he talked about things that nobody should be talking about, especially on the phone. Big U was on the phone threatening to unalive Nip. Eddie Boy has a few questions for Cowboy.
So you just ran with that narrative the same way these blogs did. When what Big U said was, I wasn't beefing with Nipsey. First and foremost, if I'm beefing with anybody, I'm going to kill him. And that goes for anybody. I'm a murderer. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they say he threatened Nipsey and others. But he wasn't talking to Nipsey, and Nipsey Hussle was already dead. He was explaining and trying to help people understand where he's at mentally. I'm not beefing and wasn't no beef with Nipsey Hussle to where I wanted him dead or wish that he was dead, nigga, because if so, he would have been murdered. That's what he was saying. With anybody I'm beefing with. That's what he was saying. But as you were, now y'all questioning Cowboy and his allegiance to Big U. This is crazy, bro.
And this is what he had to say.
Hey, Herman Douglas. Assalamu alaikum, brother. First and foremost, you know, whatever you got going on, whatever you're doing, you know, Lil Cat Mac, whatever you got going on, how do you feel about Big U on the wiretaps, threatening to kill Nip? How do you feel about that? Because I always wondered how you was so tight with Nip.
And look who comes out pushing these false narratives. And they listen to him. A nigga with a confidential case. We'll get to that later on. Y'all stay tuned. Turn on your notifications. I'll be dropping a video on that today. Let's go. Crackhead Eddie. Y'all can't tell a man hiding behind a mask. He hiding behind a whole bunch of shit. Islam and all kind of shit. Let's go, though.
And then when Nip died, you just automatically just jumped ship and just went over there with Big U. I couldn't understand that. Not only me, even the brothers in the section, they couldn't understand that. Not only that he threatened to kill Nip, he threatened to kill others. And you know for sure I'm on there. Ain't no doubt about it, I'm on there. Ain't no doubt about it, 600 on there, Wack on there. Ain't no telling who else was on there, but I know for sure that I was on there for a fact. And I'm not gonna tell you how I know, but I know I was on there.
I'm not gonna tell y'all how I know I was on there, but I was on there. Them people is telling you on there. Probably told you that lie just to get some more information out your scary ass. You was already scared. You ain't came around when Big U was out. You wouldn't even. I don't know nothing about no YouTube now. You a YouTuber. As soon as he locked up, what a coward. No, you can't see that man eye to eye. How you gonna? But you on the internet talk about him every day. He like, Duse M talk about Wack every day. And you weirdos talk about Big U every day. Weird,
On
bro.
the phone tap, Big U claimed to be the #1 rolling 60s, the boss of all bosses. He said he's the hunter and everybody else is the victim. The stuff he said on the phone let me know that he thinks he's above the law and that he can never get into trouble. I'm disappointed in Big U because he's an old school gangster, and old school gangsters don't discuss crimes or talk about dead bodies on the phone. Man, times.
What dead body did he talk about? He didn't say he killed Nipsey. He didn't say he killed nobody. He said if it was beef with anybody, what he would do. Weirdos, bro.
Have changed. Everybody is slipping up. Remember when the Mexican mafias put a hit on Swifty Blue? They used TikTok messages to carry out those hits. Man, times have changed.
But here's it is for all you Big U lovers. You think Big U was the biggest 60? Do you think Big U was the biggest 60?
I know Wack100 do. They asked him who was the biggest crit. They didn't even ask him who was the biggest 60. He said Raymond Washington, Tookie Williams, they never got to evolve to that level with everything that draws got locked down. So even your boss, the nigga who nuts you hug, lick up and fellatio every day, protecting that rat, he said Big U was the biggest crap. So I'm quite sure a lot of people will agree Ain't no other Crip did the cripping like Big U when he did it. When he was in the streets, he was doing the street shit at the highest level, regulating his hood, patrolling, doing what he was supposed to do. Then he lived long enough to evolve into the philanthropic work that he's known for today, helping kids graduate, making sure he's teaching these little boys how to become young men, discipline, organization skills. Shit niggas like you don't lack, nigga. How you got organizational skills in your crew, CS2 back in the Crip cop? Nigga, please. You niggas couldn't carry that nigga Big U jock strap. Weird ass niggas.
Because in the paperwork,
Weirdo.
he said, I'm the biggest thing to come from 60s. Oh. I'm the biggest thing. I'm the hunter. I'm do this. I got paperwork on all these dudes around me. Yeah. Lil More Rock. Turtle. Who else over there that he got work on? Black Ed. You know, Edward Lone. If y'all don't know who Edward Lone is, he stayed on 57. That's Al brother. That's Al Lone brother. If you can just imagine what he been saying about you dudes on that phone, on that wiretap, because it's all gonna come out. This dude was talking reckless about a whole lot of people, bro.
I wonder when this whole thing is all said and done and everything comes out, I wonder if Eric Holder's gonna be tied to this case. Eddie Boy said Big U's the biggest dummy from Rolling 60s Crip. This man had a son in the NFL. This man had fame and money, but he couldn't leave the streets alone. It was like a high, and he was addicted to it.
Rest in peace to the Nip.
Leave the streets alone? You mean his community? Half the 60s was hating on him like this bitch ass nigga. What you mean, leave the streets alone? That's what you weirdo sellouts think you're supposed to. Oh, when you get success, you take all of those resources and you run to the whitest neighborhood in middle America and you spend your money there, you buy your house there, and you live around a whole bunch of white motherfuckers who don't think their kids should play with your kids. You spend your money with them instead of building an even bigger house on and buying the actual land that you build the house on in the inner cities. Build business in the inner cities in your community to create jobs. Y'all mentality can't even conceive such independence. That should make a nigga get ready to cry, bro. Y'all mind can't even conceive that type of independence. Well, one of the greatest things about Nipsey Hussle was the fact that he came back with his resources, created jobs, branded himself as authentic right in his hood. That's legendary. You weirdos are rather run and take all your money and run to the suburbs. Only cowards do that. Let's go.
Rest in peace, Lil Nardo. Rest in peace, Lil No Good. Rest in peace to all the fallen soldiers, man, that was over there, brother, in that section, man, to the point where they lost their lives over hate, jealousy, envy, and stupidity. The man say he the biggest 6-0. And we all know that it takes a collective group for a section, in any section.
No, it definitely takes a collective group. It's not, but when you talk about the most prominent, successful representation of that, that's in the singular. Nigga, it sound like you bitter. It sound like you hating because you didn't get that kind of respect. You're not looked in that light, nigga. You can't carry this nigga jock strap, nigga. You will never be looked in that light. You's a piece of shit. Unalive, your 70, 80-year-old uncle or cousin. This is who Too Gangster for YouTube ran to the internet and followed what he said. Nigga that robbed and unalived his elderly 78, 80 years old uncle or cousin, whatever it was. I'll tell you his name in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just got to tune in for that. I'll get into that. I don't have it, all of the documents in front of me. And I got to do some corrections about everything. I'll let y'all know about confidential file and which one was confidential and exactly how many cases he got. But yeah, y'all can't hear the bitterness and hate in his voice.
Any community to flourish the way it's supposed to flourish, right? He can be the biggest 6-0 because if you the biggest 6-0, that's your reward. Being in.
We don't care about what you could be, nigga. You ain't gave him shit, nigga. He earned that by tearing down his community, going to jail, coming back there, learning how to build his community. Him being back in jail right now, he's innocent until proven guilty. You forgot that? The feds and them crackers give niggas due process. You've already convicted him. He's guilty. You want him guilty. You want him in jail. Talk about ill intentions. Yeah, that's nasty. Let's go.
Up under a federal indictment like that, you can have that. But us, we think you the biggest dummy.
So this is what they put out a couple months before Big U starts trial. You know what I'm saying? This is what type of time they on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for I got him. I got him. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and find this work. So we got CS2 back. So that's all the stuff with Crackhead Eddie, right? And we're gonna get into this Big U video by Al Prophet, American Dope. It sounds like Al Prophet is being paid to run false narratives on Big U and jump into conclusions and convict him. But I expect that from a mountaineer. You know what I'm saying? That's what these devils do. You know what I'm saying? So let's get to this. Big U murder case could be a game changer. Marley Marl could be a game changer. Let's get to it.
Is taking a life of a young man out in Vegas, Rashawn R.W. I think that Big U's big problem may come down to Big
Better be at the function.
Paul Rashid, a.k.a. Molly Marl.
Big U1, you better be at the function. Unique Music, Blue Magic, Marley Marl. It's a real movement from LA to the Bay to Vegas. Big U, let's go. This was a 2010 tweet on the app formerly known as Twitter. It's called X today. Let's go.
Now, this may not be a part of the case. He's not in the indictment, but he's at the edge of it. So he's one of the people when there was that footage of Loose Cannon beating up a producer for not paying. That was Molly Marl. And if you read the indictment, and there's all that stuff about the studio in Vegas and letting him use time and all that, it doesn't say it, and no one's saying it, but if you read between the lines, and then I did find there's all these Big U's court, USA versus Henley court docket is full now. There's a lot of stuff in there. motion to suppress wiretaps. So a lot of information had to come out, and one of the phones, and it redacts one of his names, but you see one of the other names. So that's definitely his studio that the murder would have happened at. And who else would clean up behind Big U? Jamal Rashid is somebody he's been, you could call extorting, but they've had a symbiotic relationship. Remember, when you got the muscle, you know, that's part of Jamal Rashid extorting others. And then you just got.
So now you just assuming that Big U's extorting Molly Mall. Wow.
To break off to the big dog, you know, because Molly Mall has been presented as used to be kind of during the golden age of pop rap, you know, the Ja Rule 56, you know, I don't know, maybe like 06 to 2014 or something. He was pretty big. I think he produced Justin Bieber song, like a lot of big stuff. But of course, it was just him putting his name on other people's stuff. And Big U would get free studio time. And again, here's a clip of Loose Cannon jumping on Molly Mall on Sunset Boulevard. This was right before the indictment.
What is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you, yo?
I always tell you, you know, when you're doing stuff, if the people around you, if there's leverage that can be applied to them, like when do people tell? People don't really want to tell just to be, especially if someone's already sort of in the criminal underworld or they have a high profile. Even regular people don't really like to go down to the court, just not because of no snitching. It's just you're exposing yourself, you're causing problems for criminals. Police put pressure on people, drug addicts. Detroit police was infamous for, oh, you're a drug addict, you saw a murder. Well, we're going to snatch you up and just kind of hold you on these whole ass misdemeanor or low felony drug possession charges for months until the trial comes. But they would secretly be bringing them D-rugs to keep them there. But that's another story. So who is Jamal Rashid, a.k.a. Molly Mall? He was he was on a reality TV show. And he was kind of a big deal, but then his career became profoundly overshadowed, to say the least, by a huge federal criminal case involving a long-running prostitution ring in Las Vegas. Isn't prostitution legal there, Al? Well, no, it's legal in other parts of the state of Nevada. It's not legal in the city of Las Vegas. And that's, of course, why you have trafficking cases and et cetera. And Jamal Rashid's case, this is where, you know, Big U, Jamal Rashid, they're playing in the big leagues with celebrities, with rich people, with the police. Because once you start doing big stuff, when I say Big U is playing with the police, I mean, I'm not saying he's an informant, but who knows what anybody does. But getting money from the government over here and then being a gangster over there, you're playing with the police. The system is part of your overall hustle. So to be really a real gangster, I always say you have to be doing something with the police or the government, not necessarily snitching, but like their part, because the government is a big part of the economy. You can't, if you ain't touching the government, you ain't touching no real money.
Well, you could touch money without the government. That's usually why the government comes, because Uncle Sam ain't getting his cut. So let's go.
So over the span of a decade, Rashid orchestrated an illicit business that operated behind thin veneer of legitimate escort services, and he got mixed up in human trafficking, exploitation, and exotic animal smuggling.
The I-Team has learned a little bit more about why there's been a delay. Jamal Rashid, also known as Molly Mall, admitted he was a pimp in Las Vegas. He faced federal charges and pled guilty to use of an interstate facility in aid of unlawful activity.
His production credits now, did he really produce this stuff? Probably not. Bone Thugs and Harmony, Usher, Tyga, Drake. That's right, he had a Drake song. Snoop Dogg and Justin Bieber. He had a huge mansion in Vegas. But again, he was a guy that was meeting a lot of these people as part of the Vegas lifestyle, and he was providing some of them with things, including girls. In fact, it was such a big operation. So he was on Love and Hip Hop. He flaunted his mansion, his luxury vehicles, exotic animals. Some of them were illegal. His exotic animal thing made international headlines when he gave Justin Bieber a capuchin monkey named OG Molly, which was later confiscated by German customs authority. Now, who is Molly Mal? Brazilian of Lebanese descent. Looks like he takes steroids. Egyptian. He calls himself the Egyptian god of music. So he's Egyptian, of Egyptian ethnicity, but I think grew up in Brazil. His Egyptian god of music name masked a dark and highly organized criminal enterprise. Court records and plea agreements reveal that roughly from April 2002 to September 2014. So how do you run a big, wide open, everyone kind of sees it, high-end pro ring in Vegas where they have a big vice squad? And the thing about Vegas, it's Sin City on the one hand, but on the other hand, you know, it's a place families come. They can never let it get too seedy and out of control. And the legal brothels are out in Clark County away from the city, or they may be in a different county, I'm not sure. But Vegas prostitution is not legal in the city of Vegas. So he owned something called Las Vegas Escorts. He even had something called Molly Mall and Platinum, which were reported to be legal escort agencies. And he raked in a lot of money. He used Backpage when that was open, Eros, hundreds and hundreds, maybe up to 1,000 women. The operation was meticulously controlled and often brutal. This is from the federal indictment. Rashid categorized the women under his control into two distinct tiers: independents and priority girls. The independents, those were women he would call and send and split the play with them. The priority girls was more like some pimping. They might live in the mansion with them and give up all the money. The methods Rashid employed to maintain control over these women mirrored the psychological and physical tactics of a highly coercive PIMP. Women working for him were subject to intense surveillance, GPS trackers, hidden cameras installed in their own condominiums if he got them their own place. They had to ask permission to see a gynecologist. Rashid's control extended to the typical psychological manipulation, making them get tattoos of him or his brand on them, signifying ownership, something that goes on in that world a lot. According to testimony in court documents and surveillance, he routinely threatened them, and he used actual physical violence. And one particularly chilling detail presented during his sentencing, the court noted Rashid strictly prohibited women from speaking to black men under the paranoid rationale that other black men in Las Vegas were high chance that they were themselves trying to be pimps and would poach the girls. And so the presiding judge likened these.
Plus, you know, we known to have that man dingo. You know what I'm saying? Them pimps know, them bitches know we got dick. I got dick for days. I got dick for days. Yeah, they don't want them pimps don't want their bitches fucking with these long dick niggas.
This is a form of imprisonment and enslavement. Now, some shit that sounds like kind of whatever when you're doing it. Don't talk to black guys and this and that. When you're in a court and you're reading this out loud, that's why they started calling it T-African and having these heavy charges. Like, you're keeping, at its most extreme, using psychological methods, you're keeping people in bondage. So people are upset about that. Now, how the hell did he go on for so long? Internal communications from the Las Vegas Metro PD revealed that the Vice unit had pulled up on him at a casino in 2009. He was in a Rolls Royce, and we're like, who is this guy? And they were going to get on him. The higher ups were told, oh, he's not a priority. Or
attorneys for a convicted pimp say they have uncovered new evidence now to bolster their accusations about widespread corruption among former Metro Vice cops.
Now, the allegations raised in new court documents are believed.
Now, but if Big U lawyers got any kind of sense, the private investigator would be going to go interview all of those ex-prostitutes of Molly Mall, finding out this police corruption they're talking about. Because see, one thing I know, Molly Mall's up in Vegas. Those police won't no heat on them. Well, one thing Big U case is going to do is going to get national attention from all the blogs, all the media outlets, good and bad. They're going to flood the internet and the TVs and cable television with updates on the trial of hip-hop godfather, right? On the West Coast. Well, we going to make sure every day they come out of court, they getting updates about these crooked police. Yeah. See, Molly Mall, you want to lie for CS2 back? You open that can of worms? Well, we going to tear this motherfucker wide open with the corruption with these police. Let's get this investigation going. You know what I'm saying? We finna find out what police out there you've been working with. Let's get to it.
To closely parallel an ongoing corruption investigation by the FBI. As the I-Team reported exclusively, the FBI probe started back in 2014.
And in fact, the allegation surfaced that corrupt Vice detectives were actively protecting his enterprise in exchange for bribes, him setting up, because they got to make busts, him setting up rival pimps, and of course, spending fun time.
Another rat. Wack100's bro was setting up other pimps and setting people up, allegedly. And this is from the Mountaineer. Oh, this is nasty
Some
work.
of the girls. This all crumbled in 2014 when the FBI and California Department of Fish and Wildlife, because he had all these exotic animals, executed multi-agency raids in his Las Vegas home. That's where the studio. Now, I don't know if he got a new house, but I think that's where the studio where Big U's homicide occurred at a young guy. And he had an Encino mansion. So if Big U's extorting him, also, you know, maybe Big U's just getting what he's got coming, because I'm sure Molly Ma, part of your, okay, he's a big guy and he might be intimidating, but plus I got, whenever you come over to my studio, whenever you see me, I got 3-4 big gang members with me. I'm down with the roller 60s. So that adds to the intimidation. This is organized crime. I think we see here in the blueprint, listen, if I were a rolling 60 or any other street gang member in any city, I would look towards the next few years. They haven't, well, depending what jurisdiction you're in, and they haven't necessarily made as many RICO cases as you might think, but they may start piecing together people in different states and calling them, you know, interstate trafficking of various things. You bring a girl, if I take a girl from Detroit, if she tells me, you're going back to LA, I'm gonna go out there and make some money, I'm just gonna be on the plane with you, I'm broke, just buy my ticket, when I make some money I give it to you in LA, and I get out there and I know some guys that be whatever that do this and that, and I introduce her, boom, I'm in trafficking right there, even though I may not even think of it like that. That's enough for a conspiracy. So watch yourself. If you're gonna do crime, but don't dabble at the edges. I'm not in it. I don't do favors. I'm not in it. Anything serious, you got to stay out of it.
I'm not in it. Anything serious, I'm not in it.
So we took the raid in 2014. There's these swirling allegations of a protection racket within the police. And meanwhile, while Mally Mal, the Egyptian, who didn't let his girls talk to black men, while he was running for 12 years plus, there were lots of black pimps getting football numbers, or in fact, letters, L-I-F-E. And some of them were handed over on a platter, probably by Molly Mall. And I would imagine Big U would have known about this, but that's a separate story. At a high level of the criminal stuff, when big money is being made, somebody's got to go to jail. That's what you have to understand. When big stuff is going on that like is in the newspaper, the public complains about, like, and you're really doing shit, every so often somebody has to go to jail. That's just how the play works. It's like you're watching Hamlet or Romeo and Juliet. Like, the same scenes are going to occur. He's going to say to be or not to be is the question. Like, you selling a bunch of dope, you're pimping blatantly with celebrities on TV. Police are coming. The question is, who's going to take the fall? And many times at that high level, people get thrown under the bus. Maybe your favorite gangster didn't get on the stand or sign a piece of paper about them, but they're aware that information has been given on them, because that's the easiest way to get rid of somebody and to keep your crooked cops who aren't busting you. They got to bust somebody. They might as well bust your rivals, right? So in May of 2021, he gets sentenced. He actually got, his plea was 1 month to 33 months. Like, it was going to be within that range. Just like when Big Meech and his brother took a plea, it was 20 to 30. Meech and them thought, well, we're going to get to 20. We had no violence. Get 20, be out in 15. He got to 30, but, then he worked a few years off, but years were removed because of a change in the guidelines, and Meech ended up doing about an even 20, and Terry, was out several years before that. So you never know what's going to happen. But he got the testimony in the federal court. The female judge, Gloria Navarro, did not like. So she gave him 33 months, which is a, decent little stretch in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Ordered him, of course, you can't be around, Big U or other ex-pimps.
Big U,
even after.
See, this the type of shit out prophet I'm talking about. So you see, he can't be around Big U and other pimps. So now you've convicted Big U of being a pimp. This is crazy, bro. Let's go.
After sentencing, Rashid's legal troubles had persisted. In early 2020, a woman filed a federal lawsuit accusing him of derug and assaulting her at his home, rape, and then subsequent. So since he got out, like just a few months back in October, back in federal custody, they were going to violate him and send him back. In his apartment, he had a sex room, which I guess in and of itself shouldn't be illegal, but it may be indicative of, paid sexual encounters going on. He tested positive for MDMA and cocaine. He said someone poured it in his drink. So he didn't get sent back. He got put on house arrest. He's on house arrest now. Now, that's what makes me think
he's working to get off.
You should be worried.
Yeah,
if this was a movie and I was writing a plot, Big U would be trying to get some of the quote-unquote little homies to knock Molly Mall down. Now, I'm just saying this for entertainment purposes. I'm not involved, but like,
But so you saying Big U and his little homie should knock down? How can you encourage that and say I'm not encouraging this and that? But if this was a movie, look, bro, one thing for sure, two things for certain. Big U has not been caught on the phone, has not ordered anybody to do nothing, because we would have heard about some crimes. We heard any crime? So why would you insinuate that that's what it is? Are you working? Are you trying to get Big U's young homies to take note from you? Yeah, we should go knock down Molly Mall. He's in Vegas. Is that what you want? Because I ain't on it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, I'm cool. You said if it's something big, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Dude, these peoples is crazy.
That studio in Molly Mall, maybe the guy or someone working for him erased the tapes. This is what I'm getting from reading. This isn't really in any of these wiretaps, but his name actually, they talk about a studio in Las Vegas. What other studio in Las Vegas? This has been his guy that he's been getting free studio time and controlling the studio, and you know, they've been giving each other credits on beats and all kind of stuff. So he's out, but there is leverage on him. He probably got out and got back to working often, you know, from doing these documentaries on these big drug kingpins, people that are the biggest of all. It's hard to not get out and not go back working because you have so many connections and contacts, and you're so used to money, and it's so easy to get right back in, especially if you've only been gone. So he got 33 months. He probably was only gone 24. It goes like that. You're right back in it. So they could give him a new case. And if they gave him a state case, they could give him a lot of time. He could end up like Ocean Fleming. You may have heard of Ocean Fleming, known on the streets as O. Stands as one of the most controversial chapters in the recent history of Las Vegas justice system. He was tied to that same corruption scandal, but he was on the bad end as Molly Mall. Fleming, a notorious Las Vegas pimp, was initially convicted in August 2012 on 23 sweeping felony counts. So this is when Molly Mall was in his peak.
Oh, this is the guy who was talking about Molly Mall was working with the crooked police. See, these are the witnesses that Big U's. I'm gonna look on YouTube because it's on YouTube. I'm gonna look it up and see if that's the same guy, right? These are the guys Big U's private investigators need to go interview to see whether or not they have any information that would help understand who these people are, how they work, that would benefit Big U's defense. Let's go.
Including first-degree kidnapping, pandering, coercion with force, assault with a deadly weapon. And the district judge gave him a crushing sentence, life, with the possibility of parole only after serving 20 years in Las Vegas State Pen. The conviction was largely anchored by a violent September 2011 incident where Fleming physically dragged a girl named April out of a neighbor's car, and the subsequent dramatic testimony of his former girlfriend, a meth-addicted prostitute named Jessica Gruda. The foundation of Fleming's life sentence began to aggressively unravel. In 2017, Gruda, the meth girlfriend, recanted her trial testimony. In a sworn affidavit, she said she'd been fucking and being coached by the crooked vice detectives, Christopher Bowman and Albert B.S. Gruda alleged that the detective terrified her by showing her photos of battered women, falsely claiming Ocean Fleming had beaten them, but they were just not random, but they weren't related to Ocean Fleming, and that he had a hit out on her. Now, maybe that was true, maybe it was not, I don't know, but she recanted, and she confessed in open court to having an ongoing sexual relationship with one of the detectives, while she was being prepped as a key state witness. Well, you're gonna get your case thrown out.
A convicted Las Vegas pimp gets a second chance after a prostitute claims she was forced to exaggerate her story. What a development this one is. Good evening, everybody. I'm Reed Cowan.
And I'm Jim Snyder. Now this convicted pimp who served 7 years in prison may be eligible for parole a lot sooner than anyone expected. It's our top story tonight. Antonio Castellan is live with this new twist in the case.
And that's just what happened. Now, in getting himself out, Ocean Fleming alleged that Molly Mall was colluding with the Las Vegas Vice to systematically
that is him, bro.
Like Ocean Fleming, who was a big fish from the multi-billion-dollar Las Vegas sex trade. I mean, if you're rocking and rolling in Las Vegas, it is a lot of money can be made in a lot of ways. My friend, when they got their RICO, they was like 20 Rolex watches. Like, you know, there's a lot of stealing. There's a lot of stuff going on. Rashid supplied the detectives with cash bribes of up to $10,000 at a time and let them use as girls and told them information about other pimps. So once all this...
You think the only information Molly Mall was giving the police was about other pimps? Do y'all think that he was also giving up information about drug dealers, about racketeering, about extortion? Oh, he's been working. We're going to get into this about him and transition in to CS2 back. Matter of fact, we'll go into a whole nother video on Molly Mall on the live. That's what we'll do. And we'll talk about Ocean Fleming. Let's go.
Came out, prosecutors, Fleming was in prison from 2012 to 2018. They struck a deal. They dropped everything. His life sentence was reduced to 7 to 15. He had already been in 7. He got out. Not long after getting out, he got charged with going over to, I think, the Gruta girl or one of the girls who testified against him house and assaulting her, but that was kind of, and it ended up getting kicked out too. Now, in Molly Mall's probation revocation hearing, he was said to have had the MDMA and the cocaine in his drink. I mean, a lot of people get dirty urines. Being in touch with some of the victims in the first case. Now, does it mean he was harassing them or they was just wanting to get back working? And also that he was possibly interacting with Ocean Fleming.
Also here at 6, hip-hop producer Jamal Rashid, also known as Molly Mall, gets another chance as a judge decides to release him from behind bars and put him on house arrest. Now, that same judge also expressed some safety concerns, though. Rashid is accused of violating supervised release in a federal case tied to prostitution rings by communicating with a former sex worker, failing a drug test, and much more. He's expected back in court in November, and a judge will decide whether he goes back to prison.
So who knows what the deep, dark secrets are, you know, maybe, who knows, you know, maybe Rashid was pressured to help get Fleming out of prison. It seems like Jamal Rashid is subject to being pressured. He could have helped Rashid when Fleming may have had friends on the street like, oh no, you got our boy Life. You're going to help get him out of there. So now they're half fake cool. Who knows? I don't know that end, but it's pretty interesting. But I will say, again, Jamal Rashid is he's still on the federal probation. It doesn't expire to September of this year. Until that time, the feds can put him back in jail. But also, if he's back in this world of the pimps and the hoes, he can easily slip up and be given a second even if the second case isn't that horrible, you just got out of prison for a pimping case. You know how that goes. Like, oh, you was selling crack 3 years ago. We gave you a break. You did 2 years, and you've been out 6 months, and you sold some crack again. Well, why don't we try 10 years this time? Since, you know, clearly what we did to you the first time was not a deterrent. If the studio where that young man was killed at is in fact, like I suspect, Molly Mall's, and then they got leverage. If it's not a studio, I think, did somebody call me the first time I said that a long time ago and say, oh, that's not Molly Mall's studio? Am I imagining that? Can't fucking remember. Did I get a weird call like that? But this time I saw in one of the wiretaps, there was a phone associated with the Black Ration or blank Jamal blank or something in a studio. So and Big U had been messing with him for all these years. I don't know why he would suddenly be in a different studio, and he wouldn't pick some random studio to do something as serious as take that young man.
So y'all think Big U's dumb enough to do that at an informant studio? But you said that he had to know that Molly Mall was an informant. Well, I don't know, but I can tell you this. This is the story that Big U lawyers are supposed to open the can to. I do believe Molly Mall's compromised, that they got leverage over him. He's on house arrest right now. This is what also I believe.
The FBI and the IRS into the lucrative but dangerous prostitution racket in Las Vegas has yet to produce indictments, but the end may be drawing near.
And what's unusual about this probe is that a main target is a former vice cop who gained a national reputation for busting notorious pimps. The I-Team first broke the story last year, and tonight George Knapp has an exclusive update.
So I would tell people, to wake up.
Back when he was a star vice detective, Chris Boffman characterized himself as one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, ready to unleash malevolent fury on Las Vegas pimps. Hyperbole aside, Boffman's team succeeded in bagging a rogues gallery of violent Mac Daddy types, men who tortured and terrorized the women under their control.
Very, very violent individual, very abusive.
Boffman's face became a fixture on newscasts and front pages. In 2 books he authored, Boffman credited the victims, frightened and vulnerable working girls whose trust and testimony were crucial in putting their pimps behind bars. I am here placed by God, Boffman wrote, like a figure from Greek mythology.
Borman was the lead vice detective in the Clark County Vice Unit. He worked cases involving prostitution rings, competing escorts, and high-stakes criminal investigations. When Ocean Fleming was convicted in 2012 on 23 felony counts, Borman's unit played a central role in according to court affidavits and reporting from the Nevada Independent. Jamal Malimul Rashid, a music producer and escort service operator, paid Borman protection money, including up to $10,000 per month. Don Ramos, a former associate, claimed he witnessed cash exchanges between Borman and Malimul, including cash in the detective's Maybach.
So this is the story.
Jessica Gruder, a key prosecution witness, alleged she was sexually involved with Detective Obias, Borman's partner. Gruder says she was coached to lie, shown photos of abused women, and told to recant innocence to ensure Fleming's guilt. She was warned where metro sweeps would occur and how to avoid
by the
them
I-Team,
while
and George
working.
Knapp is here with the latest.
Well, today was finally the day. Ocean Fleming's lawyers have fought for months for a chance to question under oath a number of police officers, a prosecutor, and some of the prostitutes who once worked for Ocean Fleming. By offering a deal to Fleming, the state was able to avoid 3 days of embarrassing and possibly incriminating testimony. But this is not the end of it.
These tactics created false testimony that helped secure Fleming's conviction in 2014.
So they offered the deal because they didn't want the corruption in Las Vegas and the relationship that Marley Marl has with these dirty cops to be publicized. Oh my goodness. Do you know how much money would be lost in the city of Las Vegas and Clark County if this came out on the biggest stage in Big U's trial? Hey, watch this. Let me see it. I'm finna send this video to Big U's private investigator. Yeah, he needs to look into this, right? Let's go ahead and go to which one is this? Oh yeah, there it goes. Let me send this to him, and then I'm gonna call him. Y'all could be on with me while I call him. Just gonna let him know. Hold on. All right. Oh yeah, hold on. Let me see. I forgot to do something too. I just seen a text message from him, and I need to get that now. Hold on 1 second. Y'all can bear with me, man. Y'all finna get some exclusive content. You know what I'm saying? Y'all finna get some exclusive content. Okay. Let me go ahead and give y'all this. We can keep playing this while it's going. Hold on.
The FBI launched a public corruption probe into the Metropolitan Police Department Vice Unit. Both Borman and Bias repeatedly invoked the Fifth Amendment when questioned about alleged bribes and the allegations very troubling. When reviewing Fleming's case, the DA's office recused itself due to conflicts of interest. Fleming negotiated a plea deal in 2018. Ultimately, 20 of his 23 counts were dropped, and by early 2020 all remaining charges were dismissed. He was released after nearly 8 years behind bars. Borman faced no criminal charges. He remained employed by Metro for some time, though the entire Vice Unit underwent restructuring. Chris Borman has not been criminally prosecuted. There are no public records indicating disciplinary action or internal consequences beyond the scandal exposed systemic corruption in Metro. Fleming and Raymond Sharp, another convicted pimp, both alleged Borman exploited sex workers.
FBI agents raided Rashid's Las Vegas home, the first public hint that a corruption investigation was underway. By that point, Fleming was already in prison. In court motions, his attorneys argued that Boffman and others had crossed the line by coaching witnesses to exaggerate what were already serious crimes. Fleming was hit with 23 felony counts. Judge Villani sentenced him to what could have been life behind bars. Under the plea deal, Fleming agreed to drop his appeal, admit his guilt to 3 of the most serious charges, but 20 other charges will be dropped. Janice Marshall will not get to question witnesses, but the affidavits she obtained from key witnesses have been entered into the official record, including statements from prostitutes who worked for Fleming.
It is all part of the record. I was permitted to depose Detective Boffman, former Detective Boffman, who elected to plead the fifth to all my questions relating to Ocean Fleming's prosecution and the investigation of Ocean Fleming.
And while this inquiry into alleged corruption may have ended, 2 others are still active. The affidavits filed in the Fleming case could resurface in the appeal of Raymond Sharp, serving 13 life sentences for crimes investigated by the same vice cops.
Raymond Sharp will be back in court later this week. He's looking for new counsel. In the meantime, we do not know the status of the FBI investigation. It's been underway for 4 years, but no charges have been filed, nor do we know if or when any indictments might be handed down. Back to you.
Thank you, George.
And there it go. There it go. So that's where is working on being the best you. Someone will energy so I'm finna call him now. Real quick, actually. It's the private investigator, Big U.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing today, Mr. James?
All right, Mr. Cannon.
Nah,
I'm sorry. I'm thinking. I was looking at Loose Cannon's name, and I called you Duse M, Mr. Sims.
Hey,
I got you.
so real quick, I sent you a video. I think you need to, Molly Mall is going to be testifying in the trial too, right? So you might want to look at that video. There's a guy, Vegas pimp dude named Pimpin' Fleming, right? And Fleming was close friends with Molly Mall. All kind of ties to the Las Vegas Police Department, and not only working with them, I guess they had. He claims that Molly Mall Rashid was made millions and had police. He watched payments, 10,000 payments. It's an FBI probe. There's a whole bunch going on there that I'm quite sure that the legal team needs to be equipped with and anticipating Molly Mall's testimony. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, and I tried to get the address to the dispensary, Dale Morris's dispensary, from Loose Cannon's wife. She said that she don't remember the address. She know where it's at, but she couldn't remember the address. And I was like, damn,
If you could tell me what street it's on or something like that, that'd be helpful.
okay, I'll make sure I reach out to her. But that's it. Read that video. That's gonna give you a trail. Use a private investigator. I'm quite sure once you get to going down that trail, it's gonna open up a can of worms that I don't think Molly Mall wants to open up, or somebody else. So whatever Wack100 then paid him, he got enough money. He's not gonna want to. He's not gonna want to come lie snitching on Big U no more at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Said Molly Mall is not was paid by Wack100.
Yeah, him, Dale Morrison, Loose Cannon. That's what it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be actual money though. With Dale Morrison, that's what Hoover Gumby said, that it was with actual money, right? But it could be with other equitable properties. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'll get you a verse from the game because Dale Morrison is a rapper or promoter. Or I'll get you a show with the game, and instead of paying $50,000, I'll let you get the game for $15,000, right? Loose Cannon, Loose Cannon, I'm gonna put you together and get you on No Jumper, but I need you to say what you just said right now. I need you to say that on No Jumper. I need you to say that on DJ Academic. And these are the reward-based incentives that Wack100 is doing to get these snitches to lie, snitch, and frame Big U. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I gotta go. I just wanted to get that video. When you hear that, you'll hear the names. And I think you're gonna be on a trip to Vegas real soon once you hear that, you know?
Yeah. Well, we already got somebody on it, so.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I see. Hey, apologies for
No. Every little bit helps because there's so much negative stuff that anything that helps makes a difference. what I do is I will pass. How did you send it to me?
I texted to your phone.
Okay, text. I just got to turn my phone off and on to reboot. So if a notification came through, I didn't hear it. So cool.
All right. Well, God bless, man. You need something else, just call me, man. I'll try to help you if I can.
Yeah. Well, the thing I just need to know is if she can go on a Google map. And who was that you were saying again?
That's Gigi, Loose Cannon's real wife.
Okay. All right. Check with her and see if she can find it on the map and send me the map.
All right. I hit her up.
All
right. So that was Big U's what you call it, but that's oh shit, he called me back. Let's pause this real quick. So we're gonna get this out. This is an hour and 10 minutes. We'll do further breakdown. And matter of fact, I might as well break this down now. Y'all getting exclusive content. So let's go here, right? Wack100 is officially now on overt acts in Big U's RICO case. Oh, y'all thought it was a lie? Let's go to some of them. Let me read some of this stuff to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Let me read some of this stuff for y'all. Y'all getting the content. Overt acts, right? Boom. Y'all can see that. Overt act number 74. On June 5th, 2022, to intimidate victim one, defendant Henley and Robinson demanded that victim one stop doing business with Wack100 because Wack100 was suspected to be an informant. Not suspected. They told him he was an informant. So, you see the context, how you got to clarify that? So, they saying specifically that victim one, Dale Morrison, was confronted by Big U and Robinson, I think that's Vay, yeah, that's Vay, to leave Wack100 alone because he's a federal informant, right? So I guess they did. I guess on the internet, since he's not an informant to all of these his cronies and 100 EBT supporters, the imams, the smart dumb nigga, the smart dumb square imam, channel BLK. He's such a professional dick puller. You know what I'm saying? I remember he was working for Cheeseburger Chuck. What a strange relationship, right? So you got channel BLK, who can't get no views on YouTube, but he's doing pretty good on Instagram, which doesn't pay that much. So, I mean, he's accustomed to not paying, clout chasing ass. You know what I'm saying? He was working for Cheeseburger Chuck, Death of the Clout Chasers, and he was working for free. So he hadn't been paid. Mind you, Cheeseburger Chuck is the same fraudulent nigga claiming he for Chicago, No Limit, that got exposed by No Limit Cairo and them that they didn't know him. He said he knew Cairo dad. That turned out to be a lie. The address turned out to be a lie. Cairo and his dad never lived there, or it was his uncle who was like his dad. He never lived in at that address or had a spot there or nothing. Exposed him, and then Wack took his company, Death to the Clout Chasers. He now changed it to a new name, right? He's rebranding after being greased up and fucked out of his company. And Imam was working for him for free. I paid Imam, I think $400 or $500 to do the hip hop police Wack100 and the snitch allegations documentaries. I give him the paperwork, tell him what points need to be pointed out, made sure he got the story. Pretty intelligent dude. He just dumb. You know, you ever met one of them niggas that's intelligent as fuck, but they just dumb as a motherfucker? They don't know how to use it. Well, that's channel BLK. That's Imam. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so here it is in the paperwork. OVERT Act number 74, and it talks about Wack100 being an informant, and Big U and they are alleged to pressed up on Dale Morrison about that. Right? Oh man. So let's go to another one. So that's one page, right? That's one OVERT Act, number 74. I need to write them down so I could be more familiar. How many OVERT Acts Wack100 is in, right? Let's write that down. OVERT Acts, Wack100, OVERT Acts, and Big U RICO. 74. And what's this one? Let's see. So here goes Wack100 again. OVERT Act number 148. Yeah, 148. So we got 74, 148 on November 14th, 2022. On an intercepted call, defendant Henley described to a former National Football League player that defendant Henley would beat the shit out of the producer who owned the studio in Las Vegas because he started shit between defendant Henley and Wack100. So now they're talking about Big U wanting in 2022 November wanting to beat the shit out of Marley Marl, who owned the studio in Las Vegas because he started shit between defendant Henley and Wack100 because he told Wack100 that, where's that video at? He told Wack100 that Big U told him the same thing he told Dale Morrison. Stop, cut that nigga Wack100 off. He's a federal informant. Not knowing Marley Marl's a federal informant. So Dale Morrison's a federal informant. So they run back to their federal informant brethren. Hey, brethren, federal informant brethren. Rude boy, brethren, federal informant. Informer. Informer. They run back and tell Wack100. Oh, I need to find that loose cannon video before the day's over. So they mentioned Wack100 in another OVERT Act, and he again, it derives from him being labeled an informer. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what else. Let's see what else. Wack100 is OVERT, is in multiple OVERT acts. So, OVERT Act number 155. You know what I'm saying? On December 30th, 2022, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that when defendant Henley catches Wack100, I'm going to break his jaw. I'm going to break his jaw. Not, I'm going to kill him. Not, I want somebody else to do something to him. I got a personal problem with this fuck nigga, and I'm going to break his jaw. Now, mind you, the following day, New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2022, was when, on an intercepted call, Defendant Henley said that defendant Henley was bigger than deceased rapper Nipsey Hussle. That defendant Henley disciplined Nipsey Hussle, and that defendant Henley was bigger than any other Rolling 60. That's what Eddie Boy hate. You know what I'm saying? Then on December 31st, 2022, on that same call, defendant Henley said that if anyone had an issue or a beef with defendant Henley, they will no longer be alive. Does that sound like? And here goes 158, January 1st, 2023. So this is the next day. On an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that he was not beefing with Nipsey Hussle, because if anyone beefs with defendant Henley, I'm going to kill him, period. I am going to murder him. He said he don't play no games. Beef is serious. And he wasn't beefing with Nipsey Hussle, because he would have knocked him down or anyone else that was beefing with him. So now you hear everybody else do it. But Overt Act 155, Wack100, again, a threat to knock out or to break Wack100 jaw. Let's go to another one, right? Overt Act, right? On January 5th, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that another individual was done for being a rat. You know who that is. Overt Act number 164, right? So that's 163, 164. That's 5 overt acts that list in Big U paperwork that lists Wack100, right? On January 25th, 2023, Overt Act 164. On January 12th, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that he wanted to beat the shit out of Wack100. So that's 5 overt acts already, right? And that mentioned the federal confidential source to back Wack100. And he's in Big U's paperwork. Is he going to be a witness or a victim or both? Only time to tell, nigga. When we die, go to heaven, to hell, nigga. Only time to tell, nigga. When we die, go to heaven, to hell, nigga. Then that wasn't it. It was a different one. Oh, yeah, this is it. Overt Act number 183 on March 19, 2025, in an attempt to intimidate and dissuade anyone from cooperating with law enforcement or otherwise reported information about defendant Henley. Defendant Henley posted to the Crenshaw Cougars Instagram account, naming his co-defendants and known opponents. His co-defendants and known opponents. So Wack100 is the known opponent that Big U named, and 600, instructing the public not to associate with them and claiming that if they did, they were not black, right? So they say this was to intimidate and dissuade. How is that intimidating, right? So we're going to go ahead and go to that video. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go to that video real quick. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to take y'all back for those who didn't see it, who lived up under a bridge or up under a rock somewhere, and that didn't see what Big U was talking about, that what they're talking about right here with Big U, right? So what we gonna do is we finna go ahead and go back. I'm gonna take you back, way back. You know what I'm saying? Is that on let me see, man. We done did so much content. Salute to the whole team, man. I really appreciate those that do work. You know what I'm saying? I know that CS2 back. Oh yeah, here we go, right here. Let's go here. I started over.
So this is gonna probably be my last video. I'm gonna go turn myself in to see what's going on. They talking about I'm a fugitive. So they just raided all my houses. 600 was actually with the police when they raided my house. He's actually got video and footage of it. So y'all know what y'all dealing with. And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff. All of y'all filed. All y'all who be sending shit around the internet, all y'all who be promoting and listening to what these niggas saying, all y'all giving these likes and hidden likes, all y'all supporting this. All y'all guilty of this fuck shit. If you had something against a black man, you should handle it with a black man in the streets. Wack said 100 times he was gonna take my contracts. He working with the FBI. The FBI went to the city 3 days in a row and told the city they didn't want nobody to give me no more money. They went to all the different celebrities and told all the different celebrities, don't give me no money, don't help me, don't do nothing for me. They going around scaring and intimidating everybody. But y'all sitting it around getting people in trouble. Like y'all don't understand what the FBI do to black men who try to help their community. I ain't been nothing but a help to our community. But I guess it is what it is. This the price of being black and trying to help somebody, trying to help your community and do what you can. You're just guilty because somebody else don't like you and they go on the internet and do what the fuck they want to and y'all gonna promote it. It's crazy. But I'm going to go turn myself in though. Because I ain't did nothing. This fact is, man, they done went to my house, kicked my houses in, bust my doors down, bust my windows. They calling my son at his football practice, threatening him. You know what I mean? These dudes tagging him. What kind of shit is this? But y'all gonna be rolling with these dudes. And I got this last thing to say. Wack said he was gonna destroy developing option, right? So who gonna replace developing option? Which one of you fuck niggas in the 60s gonna call yourself coming in? Because whoever try to come in, y'all the ones that's working with Wack. Believe that. So remove me to get me out the way for somebody else to come in who gonna cooperate. That's what the play is. That's what the whole play is. I'm out. I'm gonna send y'all videos to put up all of them until they lock me up.
Salute Big U, free Big U, man. And then we got the last paperwork, and then I'm gonna end with a speech, man. And this is another one. So right. So there he is talking about them again. So that was another one. So that's six different overt acts Wack100 in. But here goes another one. Overt act number 74. We already did that one. All right. So that's it. So we're gonna go ahead and stop sharing that. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna go ahead and get into this, right? So the big U RICO, the overt acts, the wiretaps, and the questions around Wack100. Tonight, we are not dealing in rumors. We are not dealing in YouTube gossip. We are not dealing in street mythology. We are dealing in federal court documents. We are dealing in overt acts. We are dealing in intercepted calls. We are dealing in language that prosecutors are willing to sign their names to under a penalty of perjury. And when you actually read these documents slowly, carefully, and without bias, you start to see the patterns. You start to see the relationships. You start to see the contradictions. And you start to see why certain names keep showing up, even when those people are not charged. One of those names is Eugene Henley Jr. And another name that keeps showing up is Wack100. Tonight, we walked you through what the government is alleging, what the wiretaps actually say, and why Wack100 appears inside multiple overt acts, why that matters legally, and why none of this automatically means what the internet says it means. This conversation is about evidence, not emotion, not alliances, not likes, not views, evidence. What an overt act really means. An overt act is not a rumor. An overt act is not a theory. An overt act is a factual allegation that prosecutors say furthered a criminal conspiracy, or RICO. It doesn't have to be a charged crime by itself. It has to show movement, direction, advancement. So when you see overt acts that describe intimidation, threats, extortion, takeover robberies, discipline, violence planning, that means prosecutors believe those acts help the enterprise operate, not help YouTube, not help Instagram, help the criminal enterprise. So every overt act is a brick. Enough bricks, and you get a RICO wall. The overt acts involving Wack100, 15, no, it was, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Let's talk about what actually in the paperwork. The government alleges that victims were told to stop doing business with Wack100 because Wack100 was an informant. A later overt act described Henley saying he saw Wack100 with his wife and daughter. So that was 7, right? Describing hoodies tied down. Describing people ready to draw firearms. Later, overt acts say, when I catch Wack100, I'm gonna break his jaw. Then again, I want to beat the shit out of Wack100. These are not YouTube comments. These are alleged intercepted calls, and that matters. Because when wiretaps capture a defendant repeatedly threatening a specific person, law enforcement does not ignore that. The feds do not ignore that. They do not shrug. They do not say, oh, well. They elevate that person as a potential victim / witness. Meaning, someone who may have relevant knowledge, someone whose safety may be implicated, someone whose perspective needs to be documented. That alone makes it extremely likely, 90 to 95% likely, that Wack100 was at least approached or interviewed about Big U. Interview does not equal cooperating. Interview means law enforcement asks questions. That's it. Interview versus cooperating, right? Let's clean this up right now because the internet intentionally blurs this line. Interview, you talk, you can refuse, you can lie, you can walk away, no deal, no paperwork. Now, cooperate, proffer agreement, usually with an attorney. Y'all remember who went with their attorney up to the 60th floor? I talked to dog. Usually confidential, usually sealed. Remember, Greg Caden said me getting Wack100 statement would be hard. Usually followed later by court filings. There is currently no public court filing stating that Wack100 is a cooperating witness in Big U case. None. So anyone saying Wack100 is confirmed cooperating is lying. But that does not mean law enforcement never talked to him. Those are two different realities. Both can exist at the same time. Now, based on Wack's own public statements, we can move into a dangerous zone. Self-snitching. Wack100 has appeared on platforms like No Jumper and the DJ Academics podcast. On these platforms, he has described robberies. He's described extortion. Oh, don't forget Clubhouse. He's described who told the feds what. Described internal conflicts. Described who was involved. Let me say this clearly. When someone publicly narrates alleged federal crime, agents do not need to flip that person to snitch. They already got the clip. They already logged it. They already compared it to wiretaps. Public self-incrimination and incrimination of others becomes evidence, even if the speaker never cooperates. So whether Wack100 wants to or not, he has placed himself inside the evidentiary universe. That is not opinion. That is federal practice. That's called open source intel. The Dale Morrison statement. Wack100 has publicly claimed that Dale Morrison told him that he was working with the feds. And that Dale told the feds Big U extorted and robbed him. That statement is true. Law enforcement would absolutely want to know. When did you have this conversation? Where did it happen? Who else was present? What exactly did he say? And why did he say it? Because it establishes potential derivative knowledge, not cooperation, but exposure to cooperators. That still triggers interviews from the FBI. The network problem. Look at the social circle. Wack100, Big U, Dale Morrison, Tremaine Loose Coochie Ashley Williams, Molly Mall. When multiple people around a central target start appearing in wiretaps, lawsuits, and public statements, federal investigators map the entire network, not just one person. That doesn't mean everyone flips. It means everyone becomes relevant to the case. Relevance can bring more evidence sometimes than actual cooperation. So why Wack100's loudness works against cooperation? Because real cooperators are quiet. They are told to be quiet. They are told not to antagonize targets. They are told not to stir public beef. Wack100 does the opposite. Constant commentary, constant provocation, constant public positioning. This behavior pattern does not align with typical cooperating witnesses. It aligns more with a person who talks too much, a person who believes talking gives leverage, a person who may believe public narrative control equals power. The federal court doesn't run on YouTube narratives, it runs on paperwork. So what the evidence actually supports, based on documents and known practice, is very likely Wack100 was interviewed by the FBI. I'm not talking about the interview that he did with the Houston FBI. Talk about interview with the investigators of Big U and the Big U enterprise. It's very likely agents are aware of all of his statements pertaining to Big U. It's very likely his words have been preserved. They kept records of it because it's evidence against Big U. There is no proof that he signed a cooperation agreement in this case that we have seen. There is no proof he is a confidential source on this case that we've seen. There is no proof that he is testifying on behalf of the Assistant United States Attorney that we've seen. That's the honest conclusion. Not exciting. It's not viral, but that's accurate. Why this case is really bigger than Wack100. The real story, RICO cases are built on years of wiretaps, years of surveillance, years of informants, years of financial records, not one podcast guest, not one YouTuber, not one manager. Focusing only on Wack100 distracts from the scale of what prosecutors are alleging, which is an enterprise with structure, with rules, with discipline, with revenue streams, with violence, and that's the story. Street culture versus federal reality. Street culture says, who snitched? Federal reality says, who can we corroborate? Street culture worships secrecy. Federal investigations weaponize patterns. The loudest person in the room is often not the most important witness. The quietest person you never heard of usually is. My conclusion, and I'm going to land this plane responsibly based on what we can prove. Wack100 appears in multiple overt acts that alone likely triggered interviews. Wack100 publicly discusses alleged crimes that alone creates evidentiary exposure. There is no public proof Wack100 is cooperating. There is no public proof Wack100 has a deal. Anyone claiming certainty is lying. The only certainty right now is that this RICO case is deep. This RICO case is document heavy. And many people who thought they were spectators are actually inside the story. This is why we read the paperwork. This is why we slow down. This is why we don't let internet narrative replace court records, because freedom and prison are decided by documents, not by podcasts, not by clout, not by followers. We're going to continue tracking violence, continue breaking down overt acts, continue separating fact from fiction. This is the Damu Kiwe Conversations. Stay sharp, stay critical, stay free. We out. Duse M, the done.